Sean Diddy Combs' trial backing out? Victim number 3, as she's called, was set to testify against the music mogul. The name of victim number 3 was going to be revealed when she took the stand, but the woman has apparently gone missing, and prosecutors say they've been unable to reach her.
People just get nervous, and this person could just be nervous and just has had second thoughts.
If the prosecutor can't find this witness, how might it affect the case?
Look, I don't think it's going to have a tremendous effect. The prosecution is going to call a number of alleged victims. So look, this is just one less.
Someone else is also getting cold feet. A juror sent an email to the judge asking to be removed from the panel for issues of personal well-being.
The Diddy trial was supposed to be the reckoning, the moment justice finally caught up with one of music's most powerful men. But tonight, the case is unraveling in real time. Prosecutors just admitted their star witness, known only as Victim 3, has disappeared. No calls, no texts, just gone. And insiders whisper this isn't an accident. This is a nightmare scenario for the feds, and a sign that Diddy's team might be playing dirtier than anyone expected.
With the selection of a jury in the Sean Diddy Combs case almost complete, prosecutors are preparing for opening arguments on Monday. But they admit there's a snag. One of their key witnesses against the rapper appears to have gone missing. This comes as we learn that Combs' ex-girlfriend, who was seen on video being assaulted by the rapper, is pregnant.
The trial hasn't even started, and it's already in freefall. Victim 3 was set to deliver explosive testimony, the kind that could have buried Diddy for good. But now, she's vanished like a ghost. Prosecutors are scrambling, checking hospitals, safe houses, nothing. And here's what makes this so suspicious. This isn't just some nervous witness. This was a centerpiece of the case. Legal experts say her disappearance reeks of intimidation, especially after rumors swirl that Diddy's inner circle has been leaning on accusers behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, on the surface, if the prosecutor's claims are true, this seems like pretty much textbook witness tampering, right? I mean, it appears to be an effort to either, in some cases, intimidate witnesses from testifying against him, or there have been other reports of sort of inducing people to make statements in his defense. There was some allegation that in one instance this was a statement that he, in essence, dictated or drafted with a woman who made a statement that was attempting to rebut one of the accusers, I believe, in a civil case against him. I mean, witness tampering is bad. The things that Sean Combs is accused of are terrible. He pleads his innocence. The justice system will presumably work its way through.
It is likely that there is some underlying truth to at least some of the allegations. There might be a lot of underlying truth to a lot of the allegations. There's probably some bandwagoning going on. We spoke to an attorney who's for one of the alleged victims of Diddy a few weeks ago. I believe Amber Nomiki and I did. And they said they had calls, they had information, they had people, hundreds of them, come forward. They're not going to represent all of them. They're, which ones have evidence that can be compelling, what are the best cases to bring that. I also saw a story in the New York Post, this is from a week ago, about Diddy stuff that I wanted to read the headline of. Woman claims she saw minors dressed as Harajuku Barbies at Sean Diddy Combs' freak-off parties, what he was describing there to Conan so many years ago. Said these were sex-fueled parties with what she initially thought were little people dressed as Japanese Barbies. And she said, this is her talking to TMZ, are those midgets? And she actually thinks they were kids dressed up in sexy.
Oh, gross.
So again, that's just from someone who provided this information to TMZ for a documentary, but pretty disgusting.
It is.
But it gets worse. A juror just bailed, emailing the judge about personal well-being. Translation, they're scared. And when people start disappearing or dropping out, that's not just bad luck, that's a pattern. But while the feds panic over their crumbling case, leaked documents reveal something even darker. Diddy's alleged freak-off tapes might be the least of his problem.
There is an explosive new lawsuit that I'm going to break down for you, filed by a man named Joseph Manzaro in Florida. And this is actually in Florida federal court. So he is actually identifying himself in this lawsuit. He's not using a pseudonym. And he claims that he is a survivor of human trafficking and sexual exploitation, and more specifically, as outlined in the complaint. Quote, plaintiff was drugged, transported against his will, and sexually maimed as a victim of a coercive and organized criminal enterprise beginning in 2015, orchestrated and facilitated by the defendants. The pattern of threats, concealment, manipulation, and psychological coercion persisted for years, extending the statute of limitations under federal tolling doctrines. Now, here is the kicker. Quote, high-profile individuals, including Jacob Arabo, Jay-Z, Gloria Estefan, LeBron James, and Beyonce Knowles Carter, are identified as witnesses due to their presence or knowledge of the events surrounding the freak-off orchestrated by defendant Diddy. Wow. And freak-off, of course, is something that we've heard many times before, both in Combs' criminal case and other civil cases, to describe these prolonged sexual episodes, usually with sex workers. But Manzaro is suing Sean Combs. He is suing a man named Eric Mejias. He is suing Brendan Paul, who's been described in another lawsuit as Sean Combs' drug mule, Emilio Estefan, who is married to pop superstar Gloria Estefan, and Adria English, who filed her own lawsuit against Sean Combs, claiming she too was a victim of sex trafficking. By the way, it's interesting he's not suing these other celebrities that I mentioned, like Jay-Z and Beyonce and Gloria Estefan, possibly because he doesn't believe their alleged liability amounted to a civil claim, but seems to want to call them as witnesses at a trial, although I have to imagine they will do everything in their power to quash any subpoena should this case progress, and we'll talk a little bit more about whether or not it will.
Just when you thought this trial couldn't get any more shocking, think again. Buried in the mountain of evidence against Diddy are the infamous freak-off tapes. Hours of footage, so disturbing, prosecutors fought to keep them sealed. But now, thanks to a judge's ruling, the world may soon see exactly what went down behind the closed doors of Diddy's mansion. And if these tapes play in court, legal experts say could be game over.
The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you.
The 400-plus silent victims waiting to strike. While the world focuses on Diddy's criminal trial, attorney Andrew Van Arsdale is sitting on a powder keg. Over 400 potential lawsuits from victims, too scared to come forward. Why? Because they're waiting to see if Diddy gets convicted first. Van Arsdale told CNN, "My clients are terrified. If Diddy walks, they know his empire could crush them. But if he's found guilty, the floodgates open. And here's the kicker. These aren't just random claims. Van Arsdale's team has vetted 15,000 tips, filtering out pranks and false reports. The remaining 400 plus, they include allegations of everything from assault to witness intimidation spanning 20 years. But while Diddy's legal team fights to keep this trial from becoming a Hollywood reckoning, new evidence just surfaced that could blow the entire case wide open, and it's hidden in plain sight. Diddy's legal team has fought like hell to keep this evidence buried, but tonight, we've confirmed the feds are about to unleash their most damning proof yet. And it all comes down to two words: baby oil. Sounds ridiculous. That's exactly what Diddy's counting on. But insiders say this isn't just some party detail. It's the key to proving he ran a criminal empire hiding in plain sight.
Right. And I know you ain't signed it. I know you ain't signed an NDA, clearly. But did Diddy make his artists sign NDAs and people that work for him?
Well, a lot of these rappers, a lot of these industry people, anybody who does business nowadays with the internet, they have NDAs, non-disclosure. That means that if you work for them, you around them, you can't disclose any of the information about them. It's the same thing that he gave to all his artists when he gave them their publishing back. I'm gonna give y'all publishing, but y'all can't talk about Janice Combs, Justin Combs, Sony, Bad Boy, or anything that happened. Y'all can't talk about none of that. But there's some artists that didn't say anything, that didn't sign it, and they able to talk about anything they want to. And I think that's those girls that was, I think, Danny Kane. I think a couple of them didn't sign it. And boy, oh boy, they probably gonna go after him too. Cause I heard him, and I'm giving you this, Aubrey. He stood up there and he said in front of a lot of people, we were in the studio, and I said something to him and walked out the studio. He said, yo, I'm gonna drug their ass off and pick them up and pip them out to my neck. He said, I'm gonna drug them out. I'm gonna get them all on drugs, and I'm gonna pimp their ass out to my neck. I was like, them somebody kids, and walked out. And it's somebody that heard me. It's somebody that heard me. I mean, well, it's not only somebody that heard me, it's somebody that I know who was in the studio at the time that happened, and I still talk to him today. And we were just talking about that the other day. He done moved back to Indiana. I don't know why. I'm gonna give you that one. He said he was gonna drug them all out and pimp them out.
The baby oil tapes. Why this changes everything. Homeland Security's raid on Diddy's mansions wasn't just about seizing hard drives, it was about cracking a code. Hidden in his vaults, barrels of baby oil, surveillance footage labeled Freakoff Archives, and receipts linking them to talent bookings. Prosecutors allege this wasn't for personal use, it was evidence of a system. A former Bad Boy employee, speaking anonymously, described the protocol. The oil meant talent was expected to perform. No labels, just colors. Red for VIPs, gold for celebrities who wanted anonymity. They called it slippery business.
Is that he need to take his counsel advice. Because if he think he's gonna get out of this from the federal government, he out his mind. They in the process of plea bargaining, trying to do a plea bargain session with him, and he not taking it. That's probably why one of the lawyers jumped off the case. Remember Benjamin Bradford, his first lawyer with the Cassie situation? He said, give her the 10 million and make this go away, brother. He ended up giving her 30 million. He's not taking the lawyer's advice. 9 times out of 10, they probably got him a good plea bargain. Yo, listen to me, we can give you 15 years. 10 or 15 years. You do that, you come out, you only have to do like 12, 13. Come off to a halfway house. You still can live some of your life out as a free man. He don't want to hear it. So it is what it is. The federal government do not want to go to court. 9 times out of 10, they want a plea bargain with you. You understand? You accept the plea, you accept the time, you go ahead, you save the government money, you save them time and effort and manpower. If you don't believe that that white guy was a plant, then something is wrong with you. He done sold them enough drugs, but they haven't hit him with that charge. They haven't did him with that charge yet, or that we know of. If you don't believe that they're gonna try to hit him with those guns in there, they saving all that for last. The drugs, the guns. They'll do another superseding indictment and add those two up if he don't take the plea. If he don't take the plea bargain to the sex trafficking or whatever, stuff like that, they're gonna say, okay, let's add the guns to it and let's add the drugs to it.
How you feel about Keefe D? He out here crying to come home, man.
Keefe D, I think is a mistravesty of justice that Keefe D is still in jail without a bail, or they're not making his bail low enough for him to go home. For the fact of the matter is that Keefe D was told to say something by a LAPD officer who was writing a book, doing a movie, and making himself rich off of an event that happened in our culture. And that he's in jail because the cops said a lot of these things first.
Sources close to the case describe the footage as a smoking gun, showing Diddy not just partying, but allegedly orchestrating something far darker. We're talking about scenes that match the most horrifying claims from lawsuits: minors dressed as Harajuku Barbies, rampant drug use, and what one insider called a buffet of exploitation. But here's the twist. Diddy's legal team isn't just fighting the tapes, they're trying to spin them. Their argument that everything was consensual, just wild Hollywood behavior. Problem is, the prosecution has timestamps, witness accounts, and most damning of all, Cassie Ventura's testimony. Speaking of Cassie, there's another wrinkle in this case that's got legal analysts buzzing. She's now pregnant, and while that might seem unrelated, insiders say it changes everything. Why? Because when she takes the stand, jurors won't just see Diddy's ex. They'll see a vulnerable mother recounting alleged abuse. Diddy's lawyers are reportedly furious about this timing, calling it a cheap emotional play. But here's the reality. Juries aren't robots. If Cassie walks in visibly pregnant, detailing how Diddy allegedly beat her in that hotel hallway, that's the kind of moment that sticks. And with the freak-off tapes backing her up, the defense might need a miracle. But while Diddy's team battles the tapes and Cassie's bombshell testimony, there's another threat looming, one that could bring down his entire empire. Because the feds aren't just after Diddy, they're coming for everyone who helped him. Diddy's trial isn't just about one man, it's about an entire system that let him operate for decades. And buried in the latest court filings are names that'll make your jaw drop. We're talking A-list celebrities, music moguls, even athletes who allegedly knew what was happening and did nothing. But here's the real question. If Diddy goes down, who else is getting dragged with him?
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me. Not talent-wise, but in other areas. It's difficult when you're that young to understand your worth as a woman through the men that I was around, and that was very traumatic. I don't think any of us have healed from that. Diddy would be like, you're not hot anymore, like what happened? You don't have anything, like you don't have any curves. You're looking like you're not looking like, I can't get people to think that you're my good looking person. And there was no Me Too at that time. There was no protecting anyone at that time. You signed a million NDAs and a million contracts that took away all your rights.
The Celebrity Shield. Who knew what? Explosive legal documents reveal that prosecutors have compiled a list of high-profile witnesses, including Jay-Z, LeBron James, and Gloria Estefan, who allegedly attended parties where illegal activity took place. One lawsuit even claims these stars were aware of the trafficking but turned a blind eye. But here's where it gets messy. None of these celebrities are charged with crimes. Yet, legal experts say the feds are playing chess, not checkers. By naming them as witnesses, they're forcing them into a corner, testify against Diddy, or risk getting sucked into the scandal themselves.
The allegations implicate dozens of unidentified witnesses and alleged co-conspirators around the world, and some of the key witnesses to the supposed incidents are dead, basically meaning how can we defend against it? The defense is not even permitted to share the identities of the individuals described in the disclosure letter with Mr. Combs until April 18th, further hampering defense counsel's ability to investigate. Collectively, these new allegations require many months, if not years, to investigate, and if admitted, would require a series of mini-trials, certain to double the length of a trial the government originally said would last 3 weeks. So this is an explosive allegation that on its face, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with. If they are bringing in evidence of uncharged conduct, wouldn't the defense have an opportunity to investigate it and challenge it? It seems like they're making a point. So if this evidence is allowed in, there is a chance this could delay the trial significantly. We all know Combs wants to go to trial, but how can he properly defend himself against this in just a few weeks?
And now, a judge just ruled this evidence admissible. Why? Because the feds trace shipments to hotels where accusers say they were trafficked. If jurors see this, it turns wild rumors into a paper trail.
These testimonies are going to be extremely important. Building a case against someone as high profile as Diddy is not an easy job. So I'm going to bring in former FBI agent Bobby Chacon to talk more about this. So off the bat, Bobby, how do you build a case against a celebrity as well-resourced and powerful as Diddy?
Well, it takes a lot, Sylvia, as you know, because the the allegations in this case range from like 2004 to 2024. So this is going to be going on for 20 years, and they're finally getting around to charging him now and trying now. That's because it's so difficult to get people who are not afraid to come forward. This person was powerful. They were rich. They had a lot of influence. They were allegedly violent. So all of those things add up to making it very difficult for investigators to get people to talk to them about these. You add in the fact that many of these things are embarrassing. They're of a sexual nature. They're private. They take place behind closed doors. And that adds to the reticence of witnesses coming forward and talking about these things. And so investigators have to do a lot of long, hard work in getting these witnesses to trust them, number one, to make sure they feel like they are being treated, not as a pawn in a game to get Diddy, but as people that really care, that the prosecution cares about these people. And so you bring in victim witness people who are trained really and have the background in talking to people who are maybe victims of alleged sexual violence. And so you bring in specialists that kind of can talk to people like that and get them to open up about these things and to trust the investigators and trust the prosecutors, that they're just not going to be thrust into a situation. You have to get them to trust you so that if someone does make a threat, even if it's veiled, people can do that on social media now. They can say things that are kind of a little bit wonky sometimes, or these veiled threats. So if the witnesses that you're developing are comfortable enough with you, they will bring those threats to you, or those situations where they might feel threatened. You always have on the federal level, we have the Witness Protection Program, right, which is one run by the U.S. Marshal Service. That's kind of a very extreme step, because that's somebody you change their identity, you move them to another part of the country. They're not allowed any contact with previous people in their lives. So it's the Witness Protection Program is one of the more extreme steps that you take. But there are other steps you can take to ensure the witness that they're not going to be subject to that. If anyone does make a statement that's even considered something like that, you send a team to go out and investigate and to question that person and to get them to maybe make a retraction or to kind of back off a little bit. So you do have to do a good job at making sure the witnesses are comfortable that if anything should happen that they feel uncomfortable about, they bring it to you, and then you have to address it in the ways that are available to you.
I think you want somebody who wants to serve, someone eager to serve, because that suggests that person might be inclined toward a celebrity like Diddy. I would also, in this case, I would want men, not because men support abuse, but I could see this being very difficult for women jurors. I would want younger jurors as well. I don't know that older jurors would be good for him.
Do you care where they get their news? Do you care if they go on social media?
I wouldn't care so much about social media. Certainly watching you on Law and Crime would be a real problem. But no, I wouldn't care too much. I mean, in fact, if they were reading the celebrity media, TMZ, Rolling Stone, that might be an encouraging thing for Diddy's counsel.
Now, Ben, according to the court today, they expect preemptory challenges on Friday.
Now, Deshaun Diddy Combs looking to suppress evidence in his federal trial. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is back with the story. Good morning again, Aaron.
And to you, Michael. You'll remember federal agents from Homeland Security Investigations were hardly shy when they raided Sean Combs' opulent homes in Los Angeles and Miami, guns drawn. The jailed music mogul now argues those searches and other searches of his iCloud accounts, electronic devices, and New York City hotel room following his arrest were unconstitutional. His lawyers argue evidence obtained through those searches must be suppressed. Diddy's lawyers say the government presented a grossly distorted picture of reality when applying for the search warrants, omitting certain facts and including salacious details from an unnamed producer that were never credible. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, trafficking, and prostitution charges. The defense is also arguing here his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, was a willing participant in drug-fueled sex performances called freak-offs, not coerced, as prosecutors allege. This latest challenge to his case comes 3 months before trial, and as Combs loses one of his attorneys, Anthony Rico says under no circumstances can he continue to represent Combs. He offered no details about that decision, Robin.
Okay. Our thanks to you, Aaron.
This isn't just about Diddy anymore. This is about an entire generation of hip-hop's darkest secrets coming to light. Which brings us to the final, unthinkable question. If these tapes see daylight, will there even be a music industry left when the dust settles? Because the truth we're about to reveal next doesn't just end careers, it rewrites history. This was never just about Diddy. From the beginning, it's been about something far bigger, a system that let monsters rule music for decades. And now, as the trial reaches its climax, we're not just watching one man face justice, we're witnessing the collapse of an entire era. The most shocking revelation isn't in the evidence, it's in the silence. Over 20 witnesses refuse to testify, not out of loyalty, but fear. It's about proving they can still disappear anybody who talks.